Hello, folks. It's Dr. Sandy Gluckman, and today I have another amazing pandemic mom hero with me, and her name is Rashmi Jain. And I'm going to let her tell you about herself and her family. Hello, Rashmi. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you.
Thank you, Dr. Gluckman. Always great to see you. And thank you especially for doing something so wonderful. I love the idea of putting all these videos together for moms and their ideas of how they're handling the pandemic situations. I'm a mom of two wonderful boys. I'm a full-time working parent. My boys are 9 and 4 years old right now.
And I can confirm that they are wonderful boys.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm truly blessed with them. They're my two lifelines. And I work as a CIO at a healthcare company. So needless to say, a very demanding full-time job. I have never worked from home. So this is a whole new ball game for me, not only just being home, but being home with the boys. And I'm a recently single parent in the past few months. So that kind of changes the dynamic a bit for us as well. And now being a two different household kind of a family situation versus one. So that's pretty much my intro.
Lots of transition going on for you.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Well, another chapter with wonderful opportunity for joy and health and growth.
Yeah, most certainly.
So, Rashmi, I'd love you to just share. You've heard my introduction, and if you could just share some of the things that maybe came to mind for you as you started going through this this pandemic and being at home, working from home, being with the kids all the time. What's it been like for you, and what have you found that's been a very useful way of dealing with it?
Well, I'm a type A personality, so I like to control everything in life. So when it first started, hope against hope was like, oh, it's going to be for a couple of days, maybe a week. And so I was very resisting in the beginning. I wasn't the go with the flow, take this opportunity kind of a person. I was like, I've never worked from home before. I've always worked at the office. My work from home has been infrequent. My only 2 times off and working full-time now for over 20 years has been for my 2 maternity leaves. And that's pretty much it. I've gone to work every single day, blessed with good health. And so I was like, this can't really be happening, really. And then the kids were home full-time. I've always had help with a nanny or them going to school, me having my own time, and now they're there, and then me with a very demanding job with back-to-back conference calls, and also being very type A in how they do their things and their schedule and how they're managed, and everything went out the window. So the first week was very crazy. It was, I think my brain was short-circuiting because I was fighting it, and I wanted it to end, and I was gonna make sure it ended, or we were gonna do everything perfectly still. And then I had an epiphany one night after the boys were sleeping, and I just looked at both of their little bodies in their beds, and I'm like, you know what? At the end of this pandemic, there is an end for sure, however long it is. My boys are going to look back, and they're going to remember mom stressed, and they're going to remember mom screaming, asking them to not do this and not do that. And I have a choice to make. It's either that, or my boys remembering this time that at the timing we're at in our family, with us having recently split and going through a divorce, that this is a much needed, nurturing, bonding time that I'm getting with them that I never otherwise would have thought. I always had a dream that when Rashawn goes to high school, I'm going to scale back on my work and either get a work from home job or a part-time work so I can spend more time before he goes to college. And I'm like, wait a second, I don't need to wait until he's in 9th or 10th grade. I'm getting that time now when he needs it.
And that is a beautiful epiphany, a very, very important one as well. I love the way you talk about what are they going to remember about this time, and that you have a choice. Right. So what did you do that they can remember differently?
I relaxed. I literally, like Rashawn would say, Mom, chill. I chilled. Something's got to go. Everything can't be perfect. Everything can't be done the way it was done before. These are unusual times. And I realized that as much effort as I put into my work and as proud as I am of that, I'm an equally proud mom. So the boys are my focus. They are my top priority. So I shifted things around to where I would get them in bed and then catch up on my work more at night. And during the day, the work time is more focused on taking calls and having meetings that still cannot be avoided and prevented because everybody's working. But doing the huge write-up, I'm working on my second master's, so studying from my school, all of that I shifted to night time. And just after they're sleeping, it just takes an hour of focused time to get caught up. And that's pretty much it. And you're yelling and trying to do 20 things at the same time, looking over your shoulders, 3 hours to do the same thing. And then I started asking less of them, because I realized that we as adults have 40 some odd years of experience in our life. And we've been through so many different scenarios, situations, changes. Their little bitty lifespans. This is quite a stressful time for them too. And we need to give our kids more credit than we have to give ourselves, because they are without friends, without activities, this really full flurry of activity, social life we had built for them. It's like screeching halt.
Right.
So I got them I got the older one connected on Messenger Kids with his friends.
Yes.
Because that's, I get a copy of all of his correspondence. When somebody calls him, my phone rings. So I know I approve his friends. He can't have his own friends. So it's a very controlled environment, but he gets to have a little social element in there. We relaxed on our bedtime at night.
Yes.
Because there was no point in screaming at 8 o'clock to call it a day when I still had a pile of dishes to do and I was stressed about that. And so I decided that, you know what, no. It's okay, we'll go to bed at 9 instead. We still have a decent bedtime. It's not the wild, wild west. I had them start pitching in more because I felt like if they were doing things, then they kept busy. And so I said, okay, fine, I don't call them chores, we call them adventures.
I love it. When you reframe it like that, it's amazing. Just think about the word chores. So the brain goes, and you say adventures, and the brain goes, yes.
Yes.
It's amazing. I love that.
Especially for the 4-year-old who can be still tricked into an adventure.
Yes.
So he's upstairs cleaning Legos for mommy and building stuff from spare parts. And then it's quiet for like a 40-minute break for me. And then Rashawn, I realized my older one is much more sensitive and tuned in and emotionally mature. So I sat him down and I had a very honest conversation with him. And I said, honey, mommy's trying to do a lot by herself with no help. I love you guys. You are my sole focus. I need help. There's no other way to put it. I said, when I can trust you to get on your Zoom e-learning, I can't trust IU to get on his once a week, 30-minute Zoom e-learning with his preschool. He can't do it by himself. I need you to step in for mommy with your little brother. So
he became your assistant, teacher.
That's exactly what he called himself. He said, Mom,
really?
I can be your assistant. I can't make your coffee, but I can bring it to you.
Yes.
And I'm like, I love it. Let's do it. So we became a little team of 3. And we started feeding off of each other. And I try to feed off of as much positive energy and positive vibes. I still have my days. Everybody does. When I'm pulling my hair out, chicken head cut off. And I'm like, I cannot believe you guys. I'm like, I'm going to separate. Which one of you wants to get adopted right now? Tell me. And then they're like, no. And I realized this really quick. They're 2 fighting peas in a pod. And they love each other so much, but they can't live with each other. And there's a 5-year gap, right?
Yes.
So I realized when they would fight, if I would come in and step in and try to say, who did what? And Rashawn, did you hit your brother? I'm going to put you in timeout. It was almost like mommy was taking sides. But if I stepped in and I said, you know what? Whoever cries, this is an avoidable fight. I'm telling you right now, somebody's going to get hurt. Whoever cries, I'm going to come in and I'm going to give you a little spank on your back. How about that? Or I'm going to put you in timeout. You're going to have consequences from mommy. How about that? And then when I would step in and somebody would be crying, I'd be like, are you the one crying? A, there were less drama triggers. And B, the other person started defending.
Protecting the other one.
This is happening because of me. He's crying because of something I did. And now he's good. So that reverse psychology works so well with that.
Yes. So there's so much in what you're sharing that I want to unpack. So from my point of view, now I'm filtering everything you're saying through my neuroscience brain. And for those who are listening, I think one of the most important starting messages of all of the wonderful things you've shared is that it begins with a shift, a mind shift, a shift in attitude. Because if you had stayed stressed, can you imagine that your story would be completely different? Completely. And as you know so well, and because you're one of the followers of my work, stress is incredibly contagious.
Yes.
So if you had stayed stressed, the kids would have been very stressed. Then everybody's in fight, flight, or freeze mode, and nothing good comes out of that kind of contaminated stress in the environment. So you made that decision that you need to chill, and then you acted on the decision, because sometimes what happens is moms tell me that, well, I decided I should just calm down, but I didn't. I just got hooked into being stressed again. So you really made that move, and from that moment onwards, and again, I'm filtering this through the professional brain, from that moment onwards, you would be looking at your world and what the children are doing and your environment through a very different kind of lens.
Yeah.
So you would make different kinds of decisions.
Totally.
Yes.
You taught me that. All those sessions where we talked about the energy and the colors and feeding off of each other, and how much of our world we impact without knowing it, and our nonverbal communication and the vibes we send out. I retained all of that thanks to you, Dr. Gluckman.
Well, you put it into practice and so beautifully in your usual very efficient and type A way, but you and actually very compassionate way. You really have put that into practice. So I was listening to the TV. I try not to listen too much these days, but it happened to be on in a room that I was walking through, and I heard them talking about the effect of this lockdown and on the emotions in terms of children's depression and anxiety, and adults as well, and abuse, and basically really what they're saying is everybody would be going into fight, flight, and freeze, and we would have enormous emotional repercussions from this. So I love that you're sharing that, because I'd really like folks for you to hear what Rashmi is saying. There is such a huge difference between a mom who is stressed but pushing herself through the stress, and a mom who is just calm, serene, loses it sometimes because we're normal, but spends much more time in the calm self and the serene self. The difference in the energy that comes across to the child is phenomenal, and by the way, it also allows them to learn more easily, because stressed children don't learn.
Right. I'm worried about the little one, though, the 4-year-old. I think he's picking up entirely too many things from the older one's games. I think he was playing a video game, and I heard him say, "That's one sick baby." And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get called to preschool if he says that.
That is so cute. I can just see that little one saying, "That's one sick baby." Okay, so I think I'm just checking on my dogs.
Yes.
I don't want them to disrupt us. So the other thing that I really liked about what you said is that you involve them in adventures. Not expecting that you should have to do it all by yourself. And it's not as though you are coming across to them as, well, it sounds to me that you're not coming across to them as, you have to take charge of some of the things here, you have to help me out. This is your job now, and you better be responsible for it. It's more a case of, you said we're a team of 3.
Yes.
And teams always have each other's backs and pull together and head for the same goalpost. And then again, Rashmi, just listening to you, I think that when your tone of voice and the way you said you sat Vishon down and you spoke to him, your tone of voice was so gentle. It was so loving and compassionate. It wasn't in fight mode. You weren't in autocratic parent mode.
No,
You were just like, we're in this together and
we are.
we need to help each other. So once again, it's a different kind of energy that comes from children are very perceptive to our tone
Yes.
of voice. Very, very, especially the sensitive ones.
That's true. And Rashawn is especially sensitive like that. And I don't think that this is not a jail. You know, it's our home. And I never pay my kids for chores. I don't threaten them, take stuff away. We're not doing things under duress. If we take the trash out, or, you know, can you, Rashawn, please go out and roll the empty bins in, because, you know, he's almost as tall as me at 10 now.
Yeah.
And he can roll the empty bins back in the garage. I realized that if I just asked, he was happy to oblige.
Yes.
And so the expectation wasn't there for him to figure it out, you know.
I know, and he feels important.
He does. And he feels like he's helping mom out. And even the little one, even if I give him a toothbrush when he's in this bathtub, and I just tell him, I said, I really need this bathtub cleaned. And it's like, really don't, but he's in there and he needs an activity. He is scrubbing that bathtub like there's no tomorrow. It does end up getting clean in the So we're a family.
Yeah.
Nobody has a higher status versus lower status. Mom has rules because mom's mom, and mom knows better because mom's much older than you. And but it's never a you have to, or this is, we always reason, or at least I try to, especially with Rashawn. With Ayu at 4, you know, he just wants to be in front of an iPad the whole day. So the rules are the rules. But with Rashawn, as he's getting older, the dialogue really helps for him to reach those conclusions himself.
Yes, and it sounds like it's more of a negotiation.
Yes.
You know, rather than being told what to do.
Yes.
The children are great when we negotiate with them. And by the way, when we do that, we're teaching them for their life how to negotiate.
Right.
Which is a very good skill and tool to have as they grow older.
Absolutely.
So have you had any kind of anxiety from the kids as a result of what's going on?
No, the boys have been fine. They are actually very happy. So the week after I shifted my mindset very consciously, I think a week went into it with this new, let's make the best of it. And I verbalized it to them. I said, hey, in this together, I want to see my friends too. And I know you guys want to see our friends. We can Zoom with them. Let's make best of the situation. We're not going to eat out. All the things we normally like to do. But it is the need of the moment, because our health is at risk. So that's a risk we can't take, but let's make the best of this. You know, what do we want to do? We built a tent I'm like, okay, have toys all over and we'll have a cleanup weekend. And so they have been fine. They have both been, it's party central in a good way. They don't want to go back to school, but they miss their friends.
Yeah.
So they miss the social aspect, but they're happy and content. And we try to keep the learning going as well, various different, even if it's just by play for the little one.
Yeah.
Rashawn has a schedule. So.
Right. And the other thing that you spoke about that I like is that you took your time span of each day and you rearranged it in such a way that it made more sense.
Yes.
Because you could then spend more quality time with the children. Sometimes we get stuck in thinking the way it used to be. So we should be doing this now and we should be doing that. We get locked into a lot of shoulds, but there are no shoulds in this environment, in this situation. Under these circumstances, there are no shoulds. So what gets done, and what can't get done, can't get done. But can you imagine by the kind of stress we could create by forcing ourselves and our children to live by shoulds, which were perhaps appropriate before and sometimes not, but certainly inappropriate at this time. So it sounds like you've let go of a lot of shoulds. Is that true?
Yes, we had to, because the shoulds were stressing me out and then indirectly stressing them out. oh, there should be no dishes in the sink at any given point of times. Can't happen if I have to take a conference call and then do breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks for both of them and myself. So you know what? It's okay. The rule is clear the table when you're done eating. Everybody picks their own plates, rinses them off in the sink. And at the end of the night, everything goes in the dishwasher and we run the dishwasher.
Mm.
You can't always have a clean sink, because if that is stressing you out more than helping you, then
Yes.
it's counterproductive.
Yes, yes.
The
yes.
only should is there needs to be fresh air every day. So rain, sun, or even if it's raining outside, me and the boys every day, 5 o'clock, everything shut off. We're out on our front porch. And even if Rashawn's like, oh, I don't want to play today, I just want to sit, we open up a folding chair. That's fine, sit.
Right.
Breathe the fresh air.
Right.
That's the only should we have that we don't compromise on, is
Okay.
stepping out of the house.
No, that's a good one. That's a healthy one.
Dr. Gluckman, I just wanted to say before we end the call, thank you so much for all the tools that you've given us over the time that we have been with you to handle the children, especially your very wonderful book. I read it earlier, and I'm reading it again, Parents Take Charge, and it could not be truer in these times. Everything you talk about in here, because we are there together always, all the time, I'm able to take a lot from it, like de-stressing and the neuroscience behind raising your kids and healing yourself first. Every night before we go to bed, we chant, I'm good enough and I'm perfect just the way I am.
Oh, fabulous.
It's thanks to you. So thank you.
For saying that. And you know, I'm thinking about the time that I wrote that. Again, I would never have believed ever that parents would be reading it now in a pandemic.
Yes.
Well, thank you for all the wonderful work you do with your family. They are blessed and gifted to have you.
Thank you as well. Thank you for you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.